G'day punters, welcome to Victims of the Punt, the Sydney Review show looking at Rosehill. We had a couple of Group 2 races there, but we also had a couple of outstanding Sydney horses run first two in the Lightning Stakes, but we'll talk all about it with Mark Shean, Mark Rhoden and Rob Scurry. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself. How'd you find Saturday there at Rosehill?
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting a slow track. Friday was a very hot day, and Canterbury was, pretty dry. And then obviously we got some storms there Friday night, and the fence was off as we saw. So another buyer's track at Rosehill. Didn't take a lot of rain for that track to be off, and not many horses came up the inside. Only one winner right against the fence all day, and probably only about two others that filled the placing trot up along the inside. So definitely did look to be better down the middle.
Okay, Mark Rhoden. Looking at the figures, just on face value, it looks relatively plain from a punting form point of view.
Yeah, I'd say that Mazu's gone well. He's gone to a new level. He was probably the standout performance on the clock on the day. But there are a couple of others. Anamoe in particular, who hasn't set the world on fire after a perfect trip, I thought. Obviously not at his peak yet, quite possibly, but still thought he was entitled to do a bit more than that.
Yep. And Rob, how did you see the day out of the yard?
Not that well. A couple of horses sweated up and won. Expat and Military Express, whatever, Annabelle Neesham's horse. So, yeah, I had a bit of a dirty day, sort of second-guessing myself and compounding mistakes, and, it can happen like that sometimes.
Okay. Well, look, we'll review races 5 through 9. We'll leave the last because it was pretty average. But before we get into Rosehill, I'll just get a quick opinion from each of you on the Lightning Stakes. Obviously, we saw Nature Strip a little bit tardy out of the gate, I think it's fair to say. The report out of the mounting yard was he was also the biggest in condition that our Melbourne guys had seen, especially fresh in a campaign, whereas Home Affairs looked tuned right up. So, Mark Shean, I'll get your thoughts on both of those horses first of all.
Well, I think we saw Home Affairs turn the corner in the Coolmore last year, and it was just a matter of him really getting a dry surface. So, I suppose if you're on Nature Strip, you're dirty, you got left, and you had to concede that horse to start, where if he jumped cleanly, he'd probably been rolling up near the lead. Who knows what would have happened? But, Home Affairs is the next big thing on the sprinting-wise, and the new ones coming through to take on, Nature Strip and all that group. So, Eduardo Guitra, pretty disappointing. I thought his trial in Adelaide was only so-so, and he raced accordingly. I think everyone saw the race and probably got their own opinion whether Nature Strip should have won or not.
Rob, do you want to give us a bad beat on Home Affairs, or run us through your history with him?
I backed him. The bad beat was the first up run at when Zuthas beat him about this time last year, but look, he's actually been. I've kept the faith with him. It's actually the key to my punting is just keep backing horses that I've got a history with, whether they're good or bad. They'll eventually come around. Well, most of them do. I thought it was. He was very lucky to win. I think Nature Strip was in front, half a stride before the line, so it's just a bob of the head, and J-Mac did it, and the rich get richer. He's now $100 million. Probably go to Royal Ascot if he wins there. That'd probably be the end of him. I don't think we'll see him again. I think Eduardo might be better under bend.
Okay. Let's have a look at Rosehill. Race 5 was a benchmark 78 over 1100. Very fast tempo here, 6.9 lengths fast to the 600. Mazu, as you said, Mark Rhoden's gone really well here. Rob, run us through how these horses paraded.
So he looked really well, a little bit hot underneath, but that didn't stop a couple of winners on the day. He'd come back really well. He can be quite fierce in the yard, so it was a good parade for him. I think geldings, really helped. The second horse a little bit underdone, a little bit hot. Able Willie doesn't look like he's grown much. Not sure what to make of the run. He maybe forgive him coming up the inside, but he's really only a pony. He's got a bit of a boom on him. I saw this Nastrum at Canterbury. He looked better that night, so he might have come to the end of it this time in.
Okay. Mark Shean, how are you reading this race?
Yeah, I agree. I think Mazu's got another level here. As Rob pointed out, he used to get very worked up. Even if you looked at his trials and that, he was always sweating around the breastplate, and he was a lot calmer in the yard on Saturday following that gelding operation. settled better in the run and found something when produced. So I think he's going to go to another level. He wasn't that far behind them last time in. And the fact that he's lumped 59 here and run good time would suggest he has gone to a new level. I agree. There's Abel Willie, as I said, after his first win, there's not much of him, and he's not really going to train on. He's only a lightly trained horse. Second horse definitely didn't parade very well, was very pooey in the yard for mine, so he's done a pretty good job. Don't know where you go after that. Nasturtium, probably a dry tracker and might need a bend to go around rather than being left out in the middle of the track.
Okay. And Mark Rhoden on punting forms data, we've got Mazu as the best figure on the card. Is that how you saw it for the day?
Yes, I concur with that. I agree with everything said about him going to a new level. Just was never going to get beaten, just travelled sweetly off a decent speed. Abel Willie never travelled. He was in the wrong spot, especially in the straight, but he was never in the race. He was just hunted along to stay in touch with Mazu pretty much the entire race. I think they've got to be looking at, the Arrowfield's got to be just clearly in his sights now, and I think he'd be a good chance in it. I had a look at the betting this morning, and I think it's $11 the field, so there's going to be a few chances in it, but I think he's certainly going to be one of them. And this second horse, the Godolphin horse, is I think it's improved markedly on what it had shown in Victoria, so he might be one to watch this prep as well.
Okay. All right, race 6 on the card was the Silver Slipper, Group 2 for the 2-year-olds over 1100. They've gone fast for the class, 4 lengths fast to the 600. And Best of Bordeaux was left there out in front and managed to hold on. Magic was hunting up there late with Willie Pike on board for the Hawks team. Rob, run us through these 2-year-olds.
Look, the only thing I got right about this race was Queen of the Ball was a bit off. She got pretty sweaty, and that hasn't been her pattern. So I was half keen to bet in the race, but even though I backed Best of Bordeaux first up, I was of the opinion the form was no good after Raccamello just ran very, very poorly in Melbourne. So I was thinking, well, that form's no good. So I didn't back him. I had something on Cythera. I did like the look of this Magic, this $2.5 million horse from the Hawks horse. It's a really lovely walk. I can see why they've paid so much for it. It's bred very well as well, out of just about a Caulfield Cup winner. So yeah, look, I think this is in my 20 years in Sydney, this is the worst crop of 2-year-olds I've ever seen. And the Slippers, this Magic could win it. Shalatin, I had, who was my main play in the race. I thought he was weak as water up the straight. Look, the Godolphin horse, OJ, or whatever it is the camp ran fourth, number 11. That's still got a bit of improvement to come, but Slippers up in the air. I as I said, they're all pretty much dead to me, all of these.
You've been big on that for a while though, Rob. Mark, Shean, your thoughts here?
Yeah, well, look, I couldn't have backed the winner myself. I thought, he'd run the slower sectionals, went out hard and stopped, and he didn't stop. He still won by 6 lengths, but his figures were a lot slower than Queen of the Ball on the same day, and Raccamello a little bit the same. He got absolutely lapped down the straight there. So I had question marks over him, but he did all the work, stayed on the fence and kept going. But he is only a pony, so whether he can run a strong 1200 with pressure in the slipper remains to be seen. I think he'll go to the Todman, though, where he's eligible for a very big bonus. So normally that Todman, you can throw up a horse that is beaten in the slipper, like Capitalist and Sepoy, and then they jump out of the ground in the slipper. They have a run with something left in their belt, but whether that's the case with Best of Bordeaux, we'll have to see. Magic, obviously, a very good run. Not sure he was all that comfortable in the ground. He was off the bit a long way from home, but a very good type. I was on Ohio. I thought she loomed at the top of the straight to look a chance, but just a little bit plain late. So maybe she does have some improvement, but again, you wouldn't really want to be backing some of these in the slipper bar. Magic, I would think, would be the only one to come out of the race.
Yeah, Mark Rhoden, how are you viewing these horses going forward?
I don't know. I think, is Magic the one that is it the fabled Wayne Hawkes unnamed thing he was tipping, the better one at home from a couple of weeks ago? I think it was this one that they did a bit of detective work.
Probably, yeah.
Well, this horse has got something. I mean, he did concern me a bit that he looked like he couldn't keep up for the first half of the race, which isn't ideal, but to close off the way he did on debut is a very good sign. So he's obviously got a future, and as everyone keeps saying, it's a pretty weak year, so perhaps he's the one that's going to bob up on the day and be the one that gets away with the slipper. I don't know. Look, considering the way the track was playing, very good win by Best of Bordeaux. I couldn't have found it. There was just no way you could have it ahead of Queen of the Ball. The market certainly didn't. One was 220 and one was double figure odds. And yet it's gone out at a very good speed, rolled back to the inside, which was the wrong part of the track, and managed to hold them off. So what that says about the rest of them, I don't know. I'm at a loss with these 2-year-olds. Some of that, I mean, it was set up for something to run on. Charlatan didn't, and there was another horse back with it that didn't really close off either. And Ojai had to drop on them and couldn't finish off either. So, yeah, I'm throwing up my hands a bit.
I think the winner settled a lot better in the run. Like, he did go very fierce at his first win, but even though he did work on Saturday, once he got to the front, he seemed to relax a lot better. So maybe he did learn from that first run. So that's maybe why he's been able to keep going. But again, having said that, he's still got to run 1,200, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, even though he settled better, the speed he went, he was entitled for something to run past him. You know.
The Parramatta Cup was race 7 over 1900. Slow tempo, 2.5 lengths slow on Punting Form's class data to the 600. Mightybeel's just been hooning along so far this preparation and came up against a bunch of horses that have finished off at reasonable lengths here. Rob, how did they look?
The 2 Waller horses looked outstanding, Mightybeel and Too Much to Bear. Too Much to Bear's always looked like a bit fat, and he finally looked like that perfect Waller that I like. You know, it will run well again, but I've made the wrong decision looking for a bit more odds. I thought he had every possible chance out in the lead, and Mightybeel's breezed past him. He's a stayer with, with scope. I don't think there's much here. On Taunt looked well again. This Nickerjack Cave looks like a nice horse, and as does Mustajir, but whether they've got anything, I don't know. Pretty much winner only for me. Great House can improve, I guess, up in distance and to 1 or 2.
Okay, Mark Shean.
Yeah, well, this was confidently back, wasn't he, from double figures earlier in the week, and boy, oh boy, was an impressive win. Look, the No Compromise had no luck. He had to drag back from a wide alley and had a very checkered passage from the 300 to the 200. His 2 runs this time in prior to this over Unsuitable Trips have been fantastic, so he's ticking over beautifully. I didn't think Great House looked great in the yard before the race, but that can be him. He can sweat up and still win. So, a race I didn't get involved with punting-wise, but certainly some people did, and they got the cash when Mightybeel just trotted in.
Mark Rhoden, Mightybeel's been a horse that you've been with at various stages.
He has. I'm a bit upset about this, to be honest. I missed the $9 wasn't around long, or whatever price it was. It was a silly price on Wednesday. Missed that. Seemed to be letting off around, $465. Thought, probably can't get much shorter. I'll wait, but I will be on. And then it was $4 on race morning. I said, it's shortened again. I'll just wait. I'll be on. And then it shortened again. Jumped around 3:30, and I missed it. And it had it won at about the 600 as well. It was absolutely bolting and put them away. So that was unfortunate. No Compromise is absolutely flying. He's run the best closing sections of the whole meeting again, not for the first time this prep. So he's, draw a gate, get a jockey on him. Surely there's a race for him. But Mightybeel, I mean, that turn of foot he showed and the way he travelled suggests he's better than this class. I don't know if he's going to be, winning things like the Tancred at Weight for Age over 2,400. I don't know if he's quite that good, but he's a little bit better than this handicap class, I think. So I don't know how they place him, but he's pretty good. And the flip side of Mightybeel and his turn of foot is the third horse, Too Much to Bear. It's an old maxim of mine. You've got to be wary of these horses that are one-paced, and he certainly is that have big weight drops, because just on the maths, people are going to find him. I mean, he was pretty hard in the market, but my theory is, dropping 60 to 53 or whatever he was on Saturday, he doesn't run any faster, and he's run okay, but he was never going to win once they straightened, and you've got to be shown up.
Okay, let's talk about the Hobartville. That was race 8, the Group 2 over 1400. In terms of the overall speed here, slowly run race to the 600, 2.6 lengths slow. I'm just really interested to get your various thoughts on Anamoe versus the rest of these. So, Rob, how do they parade?
Anamoe, a bit better, still very fresh. He's got some issue with the clock, or just near the saddling. Well, anyway, he keeps pig rooting. He's done it 2 weeks in a row now. If you're not on your game, you're going to get killed. I don't know what his problem is, but I thought Halal, he's borderline Panther, as we say. He's still got good condition to come. I think he's every chance of rolling him in the round with Guineas next time, and Profondo is lurking in the background as well. Ranch Hand looked very well again, but I was sus on him running 1,400 metres. Converge looked like it tightened up nicely, I almost backed him Anamoe just because I thought Silent Impact was had none, and I don't think that's got much scope to go. I know Gay thinks it's going to go to the Derby, but I think it needs to go to the paddock. It's had enough.
All right, Mark Shean, your thoughts?
Well, I thought he put them away by 3 or 4 when he was in the 1-1 and loomed at the top of the straight. It was nail biting if you took the tomato sauce. I wonder if they'd swap runs at Halal on the outside and Anamoe the inside. It could have got a different result. Halal, I agree with Rob. He looks fantastic at the moment. He's really come back in good order, this horse. He did lose his way there for a while, but like he was tailed off almost in the Golden Rose and came back to win 2 sort of weak races, but too far back in a slowly run race last time and in the worst ground on Saturday. So, he was narrowly beaten in the Champagne, I think, from memory, carrying my cash by Captive on. But, he might make a race with Anamoe and Profondo in that Guineas.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, just looking at the data, look, if it was any other horse, you'd say it's good, but am I to say that he just needs a really genuine tempo before he shows his best, or is he just perhaps underperforming a little bit early in his prep?
Yeah, interesting point. I thought it's a worry if he is that one-dimensional that he can only produce his very best in a very strong gallop. That at weight for age level, you need to be more versatile than that, because a lot of weight for age races are slowly run. I have to agree. I thought that, it was when he lobbed in the 1-1 and, they weren't going that hard. I thought, well, we're going to see the real one today and put him away, and he didn't. He really struggled to beat Halal, who was in the wrong part of the track. I mean, I will say that Halal's better than I thought he was. I thought he was maybe best of the second division of this crop, but he's probably whether he's spot in the top division now. I don't know. The jury is very much out with me on Anamoe. I thought he was better than that, and you're right in you say, well, if you just took it at face value, you say it's gone pretty well, but we're measuring him against the expectations that everyone had for him this prep to really stamp himself. It's maybe the best horse in the country, and I don't know if he's going to get to that level now, to be honest with you.
All right, well, let's finish off with race 9, just for a little bit of self-torture. 1,400 metre race, benchmark 100, even tempo, 1.8 lengths fast to the 600, and Skylab, everyone's favourite nemesis at double-figure odds, just running down the outside. Rob, I'll start with you.
I walked into the yard. I thought it looked sensational. I couldn't look better. And then I looked and said, "Who's that?" Oh, it's Skylab. He can't win today. It's 1,400. He's probably just going for a run around. So that's how my thought process was. Well, on another day, I just back it. Looks the best, back it, which is sometimes how I think. But look, he's going to go really well. I thought the 2 Waller runners looked well. I'm not sure what to do with Invinciano. She looked like she backed up very well. This Zayrek might be one to follow. It's still like, typical kind of Hawks condition to come, so he should improve. Dream Circle's been up for a while, but continues to run well without getting the cash. Mark Shean.
Yeah, well, old mate, I'm on Dream Circle. I've been on Skylab 14 starts. I've been on it 12 times, I think, and down the outside it comes and knocks a man out. Dream Circle up the fence. So fantastic. Look, he did look good, and I suppose there were a lot of leaders in the race in hindsight, and he has won first up in the past. But he looked very dour at the end of his preparation last time in, and he won a trial there at Gosford and was sort of hard ridden all the way. So. Yeah, I had question marks over him. As I said, I was on Dream Circle and very happy with myself. Would have had the 250 when he was coming through, but just bogged down there late.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, anything to follow out of this race for yourself?
Not really. Skylab's gone to pretty much his best first up, which is a good sign for his prep, I suppose. I was able to find him after the race too, but like Mark, I was on Dream Circle second again. But it was a bit tough. That'll do. Nothing further.
Yep. All right, very good. That brings us to the end for today. I'll get some horses to follow from each of you. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Yeah, look, I don't think it was one of those days that there were a lot of standouts. Look, I think Mazu has certainly gone to another level, as we mentioned, and I think Kiss Some, if he drops back in grade from that top level, thought his run was good enough in the Hobartville there. He finished about midfield, but he's racing right out of his class there. So if he goes back to the country championships or the provincial race, whatever it is, he might be a threat in a race like that.
Okay, Mark Rhoden?
Yeah, Mazu at the top table of 3-year-old sprinters now. I think both of Mightybeel and No Compromise are going to win more races. And I suppose we just watch that magic out of the 2-year-olds. But, yeah, not a huge day for us.
And Rob, couple to follow for yourself.
Unlike last week, I had like 5. I don't have much to follow out of the meeting. I like this thing that won on Wednesday. I think Sinbar for Gerald Ryan. I think it's maybe a chance to over further to run a race. I'd certainly rather be on him than the Gay Waterhouse one, Silent, whatever it is.
Sure. Okay, and it's the first of the Group 1s this weekend with the Chipping Norton and the Surround, and of course, in typical Sydney fashion, there's rain accompanying the week, so I'm sure you all have a lot of fun doing the form, waiting to see how much falls. But Mark, Shean, it's good to have some of the real top-line races back. Yeah,
absolutely. We'll wait for age racing again, and we'll have a slipper lead-ups again, and we'll have the fillies clashing again this week. Espiona and Fangirl is that this week as well, so that'll be mouth-watering too. But rain is predicted for the week.
All right, well, we will preview that meeting on Friday morning. All the best to you guys during the week, and we'll catch up then to preview that meeting.